Hey guys, welcome to your day 2 appointment. At this point, you've probably already taken your x-rays and today is the day that we will go over your images. So, we'll have a game plan for how to fix you. But first I want to talk to my patients who are struggling with taste and smell. I want to talk to you about COVID-19 virus for a second so that you understand how chiropractic will help with your symptoms. So, COVID-19 was created in a lab by man in Wuhan, China. This isn't a secret. Most of us know that. So when man designed this virus, he created it with an affinity for the nervous system. What that means is when this virus is ingested or breathed in through air particles, it gets into the immune system where it begins working, and then the viral particles travel to the nervous system where they lie dormant, very similar to mononucleosis, shingles, and another example would be herpes. All three of those viruses, they get into your body, they present with a huge outbreak, it's horrible, and then what happens is the virus lays dormant in your nervous system. So years later, someone can end up having an exacerbation of the virus comes back out, you have another outbreak, and it goes on this way for the majority of your life. The virus stays dormant in the nervous system. Well, COVID is similar. Okay, so what happens is oftentimes I'll have a husband and wife come in and they'll both have had COVID. Okay, let's just say the husband he says, my symptoms were so bad that I ended up in the emergency room, I had to be on a ventilator, and then my body fought it off and I'm good as gold. And then the wife comes in and she's the one without the taste and smell, and she'll say, well, Dr. Ashley, I didn't have any symptoms at all. I just felt a little cold. But now she struggles with not being able to have her taste and smell for 13 months later. Which is the blessed one, the husband who had horrible symptoms or the wife who had barely any? Well, I'm here to tell you the husband who had all the symptoms is the blessed one, because let me tell you what happened. His nervous system mounted a huge immune response against this virus, killed it off, and now it's forever gone. It's forever out of his immune system, and he's good as gold. He's healthy and strong. Whereas his wife, the virus is still lying dormant in her nervous system, in her spinal cord, where the body is still recognizing those viral particles. So she still has symptoms. Do you see the difference? So what happens is, I have patient after patient who come in complaining of neurological symptoms. The first is anxiety and depression. If I could tell you how many hundreds of people have told me since COVID they struggle with anxiety and depression, you'd think I was crazy. And their doctors will tell them, oh, they just went through a trauma. Come on, that's not true. This virus attacks the brainstem and causes people to become anxious and depressed, okay? It's a neurological side effect. Another neurological symptom people come in with are headaches. Oh my goodness. People will tell me they have COVID and then day after day after day they struggle with headaches. This is neurological. Not to mention taste and smell, okay? Listen very closely to this, because people come in thinking that the problem is in their nose. The problem is not in your nose. You can shove whatever you want up your nose and it's not going to fix the problem, because the problem is in your brainstem and spinal cord. When someone can't taste and smell, it's brain damage, okay? That's why a chiropractor is the perfect person to help them. Another symptom and side effect that we see after having COVID would be neurological issues with the digestive tract, so not digesting your food the same way that you used to, having constipation or even diarrhea, more so than you used to. And then lastly, I now have patients who have come to my office with total paralysis, meaning they weren't even able to walk into my clinic. The person thought they had a disc herniation. In reality, it was COVID-19 attacking their spinal cord and they could no longer walk. So, I'm glad that you're here today. And what I need to talk about now is the relationship between spinal health and the way the virus attacks your nervous system. So, what I want you to understand is most of you have seen that video of me on the news adjusting the girl at the brainstem with my arthrostim, okay? What you don't know is I was using an angle and a calculation from an x-ray. We had a perfect line of correction right there at the atlas, okay? So now that we have your x-rays, we're gonna be able to do that for you. But what you don't know is that that young girl, she had absolutely no damage to her spine. She was 19 years old, never had been in a car accident, never played any sports. She was just, she just had no issues in her spine. So when I adjusted her atlas, she got her taste and smell back within an hour. It was very smooth. Now, there are many other patients that I treat, maybe a little bit older in their 30s, and they have damage to their spine. I'm going to use an example of my pastor's wife. She came in with no taste and smell, okay? And it took me about 18 visits before she finally said to me, Dr. Ashley, 75% of my taste and smell is back. I'm so excited. Why was that? Because she had no curve in her neck. Her neck was totally straight. She had herniations in her neck, a lot of damage. So it took more time to clear out the viral particles that were there trapped under the misalignment. So what I want to show you now is how damage to the spine affects your taste and smell, okay? So I'm going to use my drawings. Everybody loves my drawings here. When people come to see me, they look like one of three presentations. This, with a beautiful C-shaped curve, all the discs and bones are evenly spaced apart, and the thyroid gland sits way out in front. Everything is perfect. Or this is probably the most common, when the bones and the disc become jumbled together like in a traffic jam, and the thyroid gland gets pulled back like a vacuum. When this happens, the thyroid gland rubs against the bones in the neck, thus causing fatigue and loss of mental clarity and focus, because if the thyroid gland is affected by the bones and it calcifies, you will lose function of the thyroid gland. So I always bring this up because when people come in with this straight neck, we love to fix the thyroid gland for them. And then people in their 60s or 70s will come in looking like this. See the total reverse curve. They're very sad, they're crying. Okay, so let's talk about this most common presentation, which most likely is you. When the neck becomes straight like this, either due to trauma or texting or looking at a computer all day, the muscles in the back of the neck become tight like a bowstring. When this happens, it begins pulling from the base of the neck. This can cause headaches, loss of vision, ringing in the ears, dizziness and vertigo, and loss of taste and smell if the brainstem is affected. So when the muscles pull the bone out of place, it puts pressure on the nerves, and if this type of misalignment lasts long enough, what will happen is it will begin affecting the discs, okay? This is the most important part. If your neck has been straight for a long period of time and you are experiencing symptoms, most likely it's due to a disc herniation. When the neck is so straight, it puts pressure on the discs, and all of a sudden the discs will basically vomit the contents out. So when the bones push the disc, the contents vomit out. And basically, these contents attract inflammatory molecules, which cause a lot of pain in the area. So the person's gonna have pain for a few days, if not a week, and then the body, designed by God, dissolves these inflammatory molecules, and then the person is going, woohoo, I feel better. I can go and do the things that I was doing before because the pain is gone. But in reality, this is what's happening now. These bones are now beginning to approximate, and they will become closer and closer and closer together until one day they fuse. Listen, we do not want your bones to fuse. And you may be saying, what does all this have to do with taste and smell? Because I want you to listen. My patients, okay, we adjust nearly 500 patients a week, and all of my patients who get adjusted regularly, even if they get the virus, even if they get COVID-19, they don't lose their taste and smell. Why is that? Because we're removing the misalignments in the spine so that the viral particles can't get trapped there. Now, if you do have a disc herniation, and I'm going to go over your results very soon, then what we have to talk about is whether or not we can fix you. We can't fix everyone. If the bones are fused together, we can't fix you. We have to send you to an orthopedist who can surgically separate those bones or surgically fuse the disc together or fuse the bones together. But if we can fix you, you are in the perfect place. Because if we fix your disc herniations and the damage in your spine, the good news is your taste and smell will return, okay? I can't tell you how many people have gotten it back. Watch the testimonies on my website and be encouraged, because let's go over your results and see how we can fix you today.